Hi there, here we are for an episode of Trick or Treat, or, if you will, Would You Rather. A game that presents us with different possibilities, different themes, topics, with two choices. We clearly have to pick one, and most importantly, explain the reasons for our choice. I would like to stress the fact that we must always assume the worst case scenario, given the alternatives that we are given, and never take anything for granted. That's the unwritten rule of this game, so to speak. We must interpret the options literally without assuming anything that is not explicitly written on the screen, neither positive nor negative elements. So the first rule is to not take it on the chin, so to speak. We must assume the worst case. And so what the game leaves out on the negative side, we must assume as present. And what is not present as a possible positive thing, we have to not consider at all, because we are not authorized to. Otherwise, we'll get tricked. So when the god of extreme choices or absurd choices, whatever you want to call him, offers us one of these dilemmas, do you want this or that? We must assume that this God is really the devil that is trying to deceive us. You know that a pact with the devil always contains a trick, because in the end you give up way more that you receive in return. You give up your soul, and in return gets something which is far less attractive than you thought. You end up cheated both because you have given up your soul and because you don't really get what you were bargaining for, what you were promised, or you get it with a terrible catch that is going to ruin your present and future mortal life. So the first question we must ask is, where is the catch hidden? Always think negative. But of course, you have to remember that this is just a freaking game for entertainment and to get our brain cogs turning. That's a somewhat lengthy premise, but I think it was necessary. So let's begin. The first pair of choices is explore the depths of the ocean or travel to outer space. Which one are we going to pick? So let's discuss the choices that we are given. First one, explore the depths of the ocean. That assumes that we have all the necessary survival tools, first of all. Oxygen, light to illuminate the bottom of the ocean where no light can penetrate to. A submarine that can withstand the pressure. As you might already know, the pressure at the bottom of the ocean is enormous. The weight of the water above us would crash us like a wild coyote. Think about it. A 1 liter bottle of water weighs about 1 kilogram. In the most extreme scenario, you have approximately 36,000 feet of depth. That depth would correspond to having 41,000 bottles of water piled one on top of the other on your head, for a total of 41 tons or 40 pounds. I bet you have never worn a hat that heavy. Anyways, at the bottom of the ocean, what's the appeal? What's there to see down there? Strange creatures that live only there, adapted to an extreme environment without light and capable of withstanding the immense pressure present down there. But honestly, there's not much to see. A few fish, a cave, maybe some plankton, I have no idea. Maybe the wreck of some ancient ship like the Titanic. That will be a sight to behold, but we can't assume that, remember. We have to err on the conservative side, so to speak. So being sent exactly on the spot of the wreck of the Titanic would be too much luck, considering how vast the combined oceans are. On the other hand, space travel is fascinating but deceptive. Take asteroids as example, may appear very close together to our eyes, but in reality the distances between them are enormous. As with the ocean exploration option, we must assume that our God, so to speak, provides oxygen, food, and protection from radiation. Otherwise, we die instantly from the cancers caused by gamma rays, but also all the different types of radiation that are present in outer space. So all the other invisible threats that lurk in the dark up there. The issue here, the way I see it, is the time factor. That's to say that we don't know how long we'll be traveling. The text doesn't tell us. For example, Pluto, the most distant planet from Earth and from the Sun, is 5.4 light hours away from Earth. We will need 9.5 years to cover that distance with our current technology, as is displayed here. You can see that the space probe New Horizon took from 2006 to 2015 to reach Pluto in order to observe it. So we need 9.5 years to reach Pluto. That's to say, to cover a distance of 5.4 light hours, not years, hours. So we are talking solar system here. To reach the outskirts of the solar system, you need 9.5 years. Now, if you want to venture outside the solar system, though, the first celestial body of interest would be Proxima Centauri, and it is 4.23 light years, pay attention, years away from Earth, an unimaginable distance compared to Pluto's hours. And again, we have to assume the worst case scenario here, that we are stuck with current technology. We can't travel at the speed of light, we cannot teleport the way you see in movies, because that's not implied at all in the text we are given. So we have to rely on current technology. Our current scientific knowledge tells us that nothing with mass can reach the speed of light, not even a minuscule speck of dust. Only light can. So we are stuck. Space is too vast to explore, and we have no guarantees that we are taking on a New Horizon space probe style tour of the solar system either, where we could at least see the planets from a reasonably close distance. The text doesn't specify that anywhere. So we could be suspended with nothing around and spend our entire lifetime, or what's left of our lifetime, watching the stars the same way we would from Earth. We might be projected to a spot in the solar system where there's nothing around. So even traveling at the speed of the New Horizon space probe, we wouldn't be able to see anything. For the question remains, how long would we be exploring? A couple of days, a week, 2 years, a lifetime? We don't know, because it's not mentioned in either text, so we can't assume anything. In that respect, the choices are equal, because that holds true for the black option and for the white option equally. So now we have reached the point where I am going to choose one of the two options, and my choice will go to travel to outer space, despite what I have been saying up to this point. The reason for my choice is that even if I wouldn't see much, just darkness and maybe some planets up close if I'm lucky, it will still be a distance never reached by humans. The farthest we have been able to go as human species is the moon. I mean, even if there's nothing relevant to see, Jupiter, Uranus, whatever, the rings of Saturn, I mean, that sense of infinity, of space, of void, any direction you look toward, you can't beat that with a stick, you know. So, now let's see what the people chose. I will click travel to outer space. 58 of the polled people chose travel to outer space. The remaining 42 chose that they would rather explore the depths of the ocean. Either choice, in my opinion, is determined by the same thought process that I've gone through, or at least very similar to mine. Not as a polarizing choice as I would have expected, but if there was political elections, that would be a major win for the Red Party against the Green Party. Now, Let's have a look at the next dilemma. Go 500 years into the past, go 500 years into the future. Okay, so this is a time travel choice. Always very interesting.